Well, hello, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming here on time. Very warm welcome too, thank you, I appreciate that. My job, of course, is to welcome you to the business end of the Asian Racing Conference, the 39th edition, Breaking Barriers. I should just say it's a particular pleasure for me to be in Melbourne because, well, I haven't been back here in quite a while. The last time I was here, the Prime Minister of Australia was from Melbourne, Malcolm Fraser, so we're going back a bit. The great Australian export to my country, the UK at the time, was Dame Edna Everage, also from Melbourne, I noticed. And just to give you the precise year, the winner of the Melbourne Cup was, let me just check, Gurner's Lane, ridden by Mick Dittman, trained by Jeff Murphy. Not a race, I have to be honest, that I caught at the time, but I've seen it on YouTube. Ropey pictures, I'll be honest, it was a long time ago. Commentary is fantastic, the finish is amazing. It says everything about the ability of sport, however many years later, to capture, to get the heart racing and the adrenaline pumping. It's a brilliant race. Do have a look if you need reminding. So that was 40 odd years ago. The last Asian Racing Conference, of course, was just 3 years ago in Cape Town. But that also feels almost like it was another era. So much has changed, as you well know, in the course of the last 3 years, courtesy, in large part, of the COVID pandemic. I think a lot of people, maybe a lot of us here, have reevaluated what we want out of life. Certainly how we want to spend our leisure time, how we want to spend our money, what we want to go and see, and who with, whether we want to go live, or indeed, if you're a bit younger, whether you just want to stay virtual as well. And these are some of the challenges that we have to look at. And when I reference the younger generation, I know that's a key part of this conference, is attracting and retaining, whether that's fans or people within the industry itself. It must involve coming to terms with what they expect and what they want. What are their views on issues from mental health to animal health, planet health, the climate change issue, of course, are all critical to them, and integrity and gambling, the whole gamut. And all this within a digital and technological advancement that's been accelerated, I think, by the pandemic and moves on at a lightning pace. So for people who were able to be teenagers in Melbourne 40 years ago, this world is a bit frightening and a long way out of my comfort zone, but we've got to embrace it. Those are the challenges that we're going to be battling through over the next 3 days. Our first session is called The Landscape, which will lay out a lot of this. Before we do that, before I introduce Winfried to the stage, I've just got to do a couple of little housekeeping pointers for you. Hope you've all got your mobiles with you. Terribly digital here, of course. So our whole event is an app on here. Hands up, you've got the app? Well, that's miserable, actually. So, I thought you were all going to put your hands up. Get the app. You can get the QR code from outside because everything is on it. And just as an example, for that session, if you click on the icon that says Program, all the different sessions come up. You can click on the Landscape, and there's a little section halfway down here, Live Q&A. So you can contribute your questions that can be put to our panelists. And just to remind you, we have got pushing 50 expert speakers here over the course of the next 3 days of the highest caliber. So please do take the opportunity. I'd very much welcome your questions as well. One other thing on those speakers, there is also an icon which says speakers. I am not going to run through the biographies of each and every one of those coming up here as guests to talk to us, because that would take half the conference. But do have a look so you can see where they're coming from, what their backgrounds are as well. I think I've got one or two other things to mention. Yes, this, name badge. Wherever you go, have your name badge if it's related to the conference, because if you don't have it, I'm afraid, I've been told very clearly to tell you, you will not get in. And if you lose your name badge, we'll just go home. No, get a replacement from the help desk outside, so that's no problem at all. But please keep your name badges with you. I think that's all I have to say in terms of parish notices for now. I'll keep you across the programme as we go. But my job now is to introduce the chairman of the Asian Racing Federation, the chief executive of the Hong Kong Jockey Club, Winfried Engelbrecht-Brechis. Winfried.